you find yourself working for, I think it was Latham and Watkins, which is like
Number two in the world. Yeah.
two in the world. So,
Mhm.
man, you have to sit back at yourself because there's some things that I do and I'm like, man, how did I get here? Just kind of blown away with myself. So, how was that kind of coming from where you're coming from? More or less not humble beginnings, but just a middle class upbringing and going through the adversities with a high school, with undergrad, and transferring from Michigan State to Georgetown, and kind of going through all that and still, being able to come out on top. You're passing a bar exam, and now you find yourself working for the number two law firm in the world. How did things lead up to that? And then as you're like in that place, were you like blown away at yourself or just amazed of how far you came?
No, and it's weird because somebody brought up to me. They were like, if you look back, what would you think of yourself if you went back and talked to yourself 5 years ago? And 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh man, I made it. What I mean, I'd be telling myself like, oh, I made it, but I don't feel that way right now.
Yeah.
And then same thing, 5 years before that, they'd have been telling us, you made it to Georgetown, you made it. It's like,
Right.
but when I was at Georgetown, I didn't feel that way. Um, and there's two parts to this. Number one, I'm never really blown away. I am, like I said, I try to do the humility thing too, but at the same time, I'm my father's son. So, I got that dog in me. So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
when I get there, again, back to the same thing you said, my best beats anyone else's best.
Right.
And people may do things that are better than what I do. There's, some things around consistency, which are people are really good at, but I know for a fact at the end of the day, there's 24 hours in the day. As long as there's no Mike Ross to do from Suits who could, read a book once and remember every single word, as
Right.
long as that person doesn't exist, there's no reason why you can't compete with everyone.
Right.
You've got people, the former head of Goldman Sachs, I think, who had, dyslexia or something like that. You got people like that out there who just have the dog in them, man.
Yeah.
So I've never been blown away. Now, when I'm sitting on $1 billion in my account, then I'll be like, wow,
Yeah.
Dave,
For sure.
this is incredible. That's, who would
Right.
have thought? But but no, I didn't feel blown away. And in terms of what got me there, I'd say I went from being one of the least sought out associates, attorneys, or, people to being one of the most. And that was a really cool experience
Yeah. For sure.
because I remember going from a place where like I was getting rejected from firms that I didn't even apply to. And that was actually a funny moment in my life. 'Cause I was like, I don't even know who y'all are. And they were
Right.
like, I tell you, want you to know, man, you ain't cut out to be here. And I was like, who are you people? And that was a funny moment. And then, I hit a point where, because once my grades, the A's started rolling and people started saying, oh, well, you're overqualified to come here. And I'm like, what? But but again, it's you believe in the man upstairs and he takes you certain ways, and that's kind of what leads to who you are. And so for me, the rejections forced me to go speak to people. The
Yeah.
rejections forced me to speak to the Chris Sakas, the Mark Whitakers, the Eric Brunstads, Steve Cooney's. It forced me to go speak to those people to figure out, hey, how do I get to you, or how do I
Yeah.
get to be an associate? And they were like, no, 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 you're focused on the wrong thing. You want to see how to become a very, very profitable partner. This is the route. And I haven't reached that route yet, but I'm still, but based on how things have played out since then, it's gotten so much easier. And so
Right.
I loved being at Latham. It was fun to be able to compete. I had some people there who were just brilliant, man. There was one guy there, Ryan Myerson. I've never seen anything like it. Like and I mean, he's been in the game for a while, but we were on a call and he didn't need to go back and check anything. It wasn't like, oh, let me go check to see if this law play. He was just knew it offhand.
Yeah. Right.
Absolute dog. Yeah. And so it was a really cool experience. It's really great because it's self validating to say, yo, I'm here and I'm not getting blown away.